Over the years, there have been numerous inventions of vertical takeoff machines in the aviation world. While it is an engineering wonder, there are only a few aircraft that can manage this feat. Let's take a look at the top 10 aircraft capable of vertical takeoff. At number 10, the American Ryan X-13A RY Vertijet. The aircraft was first designed as an experiment to test vertical takeoff and landing. The main objective of the aircraft was to demonstrate the ability of a pure jet to vertically take off, hover, make a smooth transition to horizontal forward flight, and then vertically land. The aircraft first soared into the sky in 1955. However, it wasn't until 1957 that the X-13 completed its first full-cycle flight at the Edwards Air Force Base in California. After having been fitted with a temporary tail-sitting rig, the aircraft took off vertically from its mobile trailer, angled over into a horizontal attitude, and flew in the sky for several minutes before transitioning into vertical flight and slowly landing back onto its trailer. However, the jet aircraft was pretty heavy and clumsy. It measured 23 feet and 5 inches long and had a maximum takeoff weight of 6,700 pounds with a wingspan of 21 feet. It certainly is not the best looking aircraft, but it got the job done. At number 9, the Ling timkovat XC-142. The Ling timkovat, or LTV, was a tilt-wing experimental aircraft designed to investigate the operational suitability of vertical takeoff and landing. The first XC-142 flew conventionally in 1964 and completed its first transitional flight in 1965. It took off vertically, transitioned into forward flight, and landed vertically. The basic design for the aircraft was a fairly typical cargo aircraft layout. It had a large boxy fuselage with a tilted rear area featuring a loading ramp. It was powered by 4 General Electric T64 turboshaft engines cross-linked on a common drive shaft. This was so that the engine-out asymmetric thrust problems during VTOL operations could be eliminated. However, the aircraft never proceeded beyond the prototype stage. Its service sponsors pulled out of the program one by one, and due to a lack of interest, it eventually ended. A very sad death indeed for an aircraft that had demonstrated its capabilities successfully. And at number 8, the Dassault Mirage 3V. Also known as Mirage 3V, it was a French vertical takeoff and landing prototype fighter aircraft from the mid-1960s. The 2 prototypes of the aircraft were developed and produced by Dassault Aviation. The first prototype even went on to conduct its first hovering trial in 1965. It was powered by a single Pratt & Whitney JTF-10 turbofan engine. However, the engine was quickly replaced by an upgraded TF-106 engine before the first prototype made its initial transition to forward flight in 1966. However, it wasn't only the first prototype that was the star of the show. The second prototype conducted its first flight in June 1966, but unfortunately, it ended up being lost in an accident in the same year. But it seemed like the Mirage 3V was never able to take off vertically and successfully attain supersonic flight during the same flight. This is why the loss of the second prototype eventually killed the program and assured the world that the manufacturing of VTOL aircraft was better left into the hands of the Americans. At number 7, the Harrier. The Harrier, also informally known as the Harrier Jump Jet, is a jet-powered attack aircraft capable of vertical short takeoff and landing operations, or VSTOL. It was developed by British manufacturer Hawker Siddeley in the late 1960s and was named after a bird of prey. However, the Harrier ended up being the only truly successful VSTOL design of the many attempted during the 1960s. Unlike most of its competitors, it was a subsonic aircraft and could operate from improvised bases such as forest clearings, car parks, etc. This design was later adapted for use from aircraft carriers. One con of the aircraft was that it could only take off vertically at less than its maximum loaded weight. The Harrier was also described as unforgiving to fly by pilots. The aircraft could manage forward flight operations where it would behave like a fixed-wing aircraft above its stall speed. VTOL operations where the conventional lift and control services are ineffective, and short takeoff and landing. The Harrier made its last operational flight in December of 2010, so I guess it is the British we should leave the aircraft manufacturing up to, not the Americans. Number 6. The McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II. The McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II is a single-engine ground attack aircraft also capable of vertical or short takeoff and landing. The aircraft was designed in the late 1970s as an Anglo-American development of the British Hawker Siddeley Harrier, which was the first operational VTOL aircraft. Finally, the Americans learned something from the British. The aircraft is primarily used for light attack or multi-role missions. It is used by the United States Marine Corps, the Spanish Navy, and the Italian Navy. The AB-8Bs have typically operated from small aircraft carriers, large amphibious assault ships, and simple forward operating bases. It has participated in numerous military and humanitarian operations and has successfully proven themselves as versatile assets. However, due to its high accident rate, the U.S. Marine Corps and Italian Navy AV-8Bs are being replaced by the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II. However, the U.S. Marine Corps is expected to continue operating its Harriers until 2025. Number 5. The Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. The Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey is an American multi-mission tilt-rotor military aircraft with both vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, along with short takeoff and landing capabilities. It was designed to combine the functions of a conventional helicopter with the long-range, high-speed cruising performance of a turboprop aircraft. Since the failure of Operation Eagle Claw during the Iran hostage crisis in 1980, there was a need for a new, long-range, high-speed vertical takeoff aircraft for the U.S. Department of Defense. Thus, a development contract was awarded to a partnership between Bell Helicopter and Boeing Helicopters, and that's when the combined child that is the V-22 was born. Since entering service with the U.S. Marine Corps and Air Force, the Osprey has been in use for transportation and medevac operations over Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Kuwait. The U.S. Navy also plans on using the V-22 for carrier onboard delivery duties in 2021. At number 4, the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II is an American family of single-seat, single-engine, all-weather, multi-role combat aircraft that is intended to perform both air superiority and strike missions. The aircraft has 3 main variants: the conventional takeoff and landing F-35A, the short takeoff and vertical landing F-35B, and the carrier-based F-35C. The U.S. principally funded the development of the aircraft with the additional funding from program partner countries from NATO and close U.S. allies. These include the United Kingdom, Italy, Australia, Canada, Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, and formerly Turkey. Several countries have already ordered or are eyeing the aircraft. This program has invited much criticism for its unprecedented size, complexity, ballooning costs, and much delayed deliveries. At number 3, NASA's Puffin. The Puffin is an American proposed hover-capable aircraft that is electric-powered and is a low-noise, vertical takeoff and landing technology concept prop rotor aircraft. NASA expected to achieve the first flight of a 1/3 scale hover-capable Puffin demonstrator by March of 2010. By midsummer 2010, they had begun investigating how well it transitions from cruise to hover flight. The 1/3 scale model of the Puffin was briefly on display by August 2010 at the NASA Langley campus for the filming of the Discovery Network series Dean of Invention. This Puffin could be seen in the 8th and final episode of the show. The concept design was capable of flying a single person at a speed of 150 miles per hour with a range expected to be less than 50 miles. This made it the fast aircraft NASA was looking to make. At number 2, the compound helicopter. A compound helicopter contains an additional system for thrust and small stub-fixed wings. This allows its rotation to be slowed down by offloading the rotor in cruise, increasing the maximum speed of the aircraft. There are 3 basic flight conditions for a compound helicopter: hover, forward flight, and the transition between the two, which means it's capable of vertical and short takeoff and landing. Due to these capabilities, it has been chosen to conduct tasks that were previously not possible with other aircraft. Today, the same compound helicopters are used for transportation of people and cargo, military uses, construction, firefighting, medical transport, and more. To combat wildland fires, helitack is used. And at number 1, the VFW VAK 191B. This aircraft was an experimental German vertical takeoff and landing strike fighter from the early 1970s. It was developed with the purpose that it would eventually serve as a replacement for the Italian Fiat G91 in service with the German Air Force. Not only that, but the aircraft was intended to be armed with nuclear weapons as a deterrent against aggression from the Soviet Union. In case of a major war breaking out, the aircraft would be deployed to dispersed locations to survive the first wave of attacks. Moreover, it would also retaliate against targets behind enemy lines. There were 3 prototypes in development, and a number of 91 flights were performed before all 3 of them were retired in 1975. These aircrafts have now been preserved, and 2 of the prototypes are now on public display in German museums. That's a wrap for 10 aircraft capable of vertical takeoff. Which one of these do you want to take a flight on? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.